A lawyer charged with sexually assaulting 4 women 15 years ago is expected to be released on bail. Now, one of his accusers and her mother are speaking out about what they say happened that night and how they're preparing to face him in court. Ariel Reshev sat down with them in this ABC News exclusive.
I kept thinking, is this a nightmare? I'm going to wake up.
The first accuser of Boston's serial sexual assault suspect, Matthew Nilo, speaking out. Lori Pinkham sitting down exclusively with ABC News with her mom, Janine, by her side. Now ready to tell her story of the night she says she was attacked 15 years ago.
What do you remember from that night in 2007?
Well, I had been out at one of the clubs I was doing promotions for, and I was walking to my car. He pulled up in his car next to me and kind of cut me off and started yelling to me like something like, hey, oh, hey, I saw you, do you need a ride? I was like, no, I'm okay. And that's when I saw he had a gun in his hand, and he just said, get in the car. And I just got really scared, and I got in the car.
Did you fear for your life?
Yeah, I started getting scared, and he kept driving. As soon as we got to Charlestown and he stopped the car, I tried to run as fast as I could, and he caught up to me, and that's when he raped me.
What did that night take away from you?
It took away my freedom, honestly.
For more than a decade, Lori says she lived in a constant state of terror.
What was it like for 15 years not knowing who did this to you?
It's been horrible. You know, a big part of my life stopped that day. I couldn't work. I didn't want to spend time with anybody. Every day I've lived in fear.
It's heartbreaking. I feel like there's a part of her that didn't get to continue her life, you know, so she didn't finish growing up to become a woman with a career and a family, and I know that breaks her heart.
But just weeks ago, authorities informed Lori they had zeroed in on a suspect, later identified as 35-year-old Manhattan attorney Matthew Nilo.
I was shocked. I couldn't believe it.
Prosecutors say DNA testing linked Nilo to Lori's unsolved sexual assault case and to 3 others.
When you looked at a picture of the suspect, what did you notice?
His eyes mostly. I just remember them because they were like black.
Are you confident that this is the guy?
Yes, absolutely.
Authorities say they checked DNA from the victims' rape kits against publicly accessible genealogy websites, eventually leading them to Nilo, who has pleaded not guilty to 7 counts. Lori vowing to face him in court.
I want him to know that I'm not scared of him at all.
Why do you feel like now is the moment to come forward?
I have my chance to look him in the eyes and tell him he's not going to get away with it.
And Ariel Reshev joins me now for more on this. Ariel, why are Lori and her mother choosing to talk about this now?
Well, I just was speaking with Janine, just texting with her just now, and she said, you know, Lori has been essentially frozen in time for the last 15 years. She's waited almost 16 years now to use her voice and reclaim her life. And she feels like now that a suspect has actually been identified and she's no longer having to look over her shoulder in her own hometown and fear for her life, she feels like she can use her voice in order to protect and to represent other survivors of sexual assault as well.
What was her reaction, and their reaction for that matter, when they found out that they did have a suspect charged?
Well, Lori described sort of an absolute shock that after 15 years of wondering and not having answers, that they had zeroed in on Matthew Nilo. And she says when she looked at pictures of Matthew Nilo, she immediately recognized his eyes. Of course, he remains a suspect. He's charged in this case. He's pleaded not guilty. But she is confident. She told me yesterday she's confident that this is the person who assaulted her. And I think she has a swell of emotions. She's sad at what she's lost, that her life has been ripped away from her. She feels conviction to now speak out and represent the victims in this case and other cases cases of sexual assault, as I said. And I think she feels empowered finally for the first time in 15 years to move on with her life and really use her voice for good.
Now, you mentioned that she says she recognizes him by his eyes. Now she's saying she wants to look him in the eye. Does that mean that she intends to be in court throughout this trial?
She told me that she is dead set on being in court every single time Matthew Nilo appears, and she wants him to have to look at her and know what she says he did to her, and that she is no longer afraid of him. As she says, he should be more afraid of me because the wheels of justice are turning, and she hopes that he will face justice.
Could we see her testify in this trial?
We could. She has told me that she is planning to testify if the prosecutors ask her to do so, and she has a lot of conviction behind that.
Now, Matthew's defense attorney says he expects he'll be released on bail soon. So what happens next?
So the judge actually said that Matthew Nilo could post $500,000 in cash bail. He was ordered a $5 million bail, but in the bail system, he can post up to $500,000 in cash. His attorney has told us that he's planning to do that, and he could be released soon, but so far he does remain incarcerated. So we'll see over the next 24, 48 hours what happens there.
All right, Ariel Reshef, thank you.
Sure.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.